So this is a black bear walking down into Cades Cove in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. The Smokies formed by abduction. They were formed in a great collision. And you know something about collisions. If this car were before the collision, it would have had a front that was fairly long horizontally and fairly short, thin vertically. But when it ran into the wall, you can see what happened. It got squeezed horizontally and thickened vertically. So it's shorter horizontally, thicker vertically. And this one did it by bending and getting squeezed and so on. In the collision of the Great Smoky Mountains, there was some such bending. But in addition, older rocks were shoved on top of younger ones, as shown in this diagram where the bear is walking, and we're going to look at how that happened. First, just a little geology terminology. Here's a pile of notebooks and things at our house. And to a geologist, you'd look at the one on the bottom and say, that was put there first. It's been there longer. It's an older layer. And the one on the top was put there more recently, so that's a younger layer. Well, now let's go to Glacier National Park, and this is a great cliff in Glacier, and we're going to zoom in on this cliff. And what we have here is a pile of layers, something like those notebooks. The one on the bottom is put down first. It's been there longer. It's an older layer. The one on the top was put there more recently, so it's a younger layer. But you'll also notice that if we follow this layer along, how do we find it? Well, we have to go up there because there's been displacement here. The rocks were squeezed, and the squeeze broke the rocks to make what we call a fault. And so you have this pile of rocks on both sides, but there's been some shoving going on. And we can put some labels on this to make it a little easy. On the left, you have the older at the bottom and the younger on the top. On the right, you have the older at the bottom and the younger at the top. But right here, notice what's happened. The older is sitting on top of the younger. So now that allows us to go back and make sense of where the bear is. So here we are back at the bear, and he is walking through this diagram with the older rocks on top of the other younger. How did it get there? Well, let's do a simple diagram. Here's older on the bottom, younger on the top. It gets squeezed by pushed together stresses, and it's going to break along a fault like this. Okay? Now, faults sometimes move the rocks up a lot vertically and a little horizontally. The one at Glacier was pretty steep. The fault where the bear is moved them mostly horizontally, but with a little bit of vertical. And so it moved them a long way horizontal. So I want you to focus on the Y in the younger layer and the O in the older layer. And when the fault breaks, the O is going to go over by the Y, and you're going to pile it up like this. Well, after that happened, after the fault broke and it moved it like this, erosion happened, and it took down the surface, so it looked something like that where the bear is. Or it looked like this diagram we've been looking at, or it looked like the bear. And so there we have, pushed together, can bend things, it can squeeze them, but it can also shove older ones on top of younger ones, so the bear can be walking on the younger rocks at Cades Cove in the Great Smokies.